Hey, what's going on, everyone? Astrologer Eric Rosen for Viking Rising Astrology, and this is your full moon in Cancer horoscope. We're already in that Cancer full moon energy, but this is going to officially peak out a little bit before 4:30 p.m. Central Time on Monday. But of course, we're going to feel this energy for the next 28 days. It's a big one, so we're going to talk about that. But first, I do want to mention that I did just finish recording my latest special for the nodes shifting signs. We now have the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo. So if you want to find out what this means for you, for your sun sign, your rising sign, and even your moon sign, I'll give you that because it is North Node in Pisces. So there is a deep emotional subconscious component to this. You can check that out. That link is down below. I'm just going to run the special for a little bit, just charging $5, and the price is going to go up. So just running a little sort of flash sale on it just to kind of get it going. People want to get it in their hands. So, and you're maybe wondering why I'm wearing my hood today. I am using this this shift in energy that we've had for actually doing my first ever dry fast, sort of like a Ramadan type of approach. No food, no water. I did my studying and did my preparation to make sure that I'm going to acclimate to it as well as I can. But dry fast tend to be very healing on a lot of fronts, but also it's one of the number one spiritual go-tos for healing on all levels. And so I thought, what better way to do this than to use it for the timing of this full moon in Cancer, but also the node shifting, that North Node in Pisces, for a very spiritual approach to things. And so I'm wearing my hood because I'm just lounging. I'm going to be lounging for a few days, but I did realize, I'm like, oh yeah, we do have this full moon. Let me just drop a quick horoscope. And as a manifesting generator, human design, it's like I sleep better, I rest better when I'm creating anyway. Just doing nothing isn't fun. Manifesting generators, 70% of the population is really about finding the right thing to put your energy and effort into, and not trudging through the things that either don't want to do altogether or just it's not the right timing to do it. So this felt like the time to pop in and do this horoscope. So enough of the personal shares. Hashtag full moon in Cancer, right? Personal vulnerability. Definitely a key element of these things. It's always an opportunity for people to, open up and be vulnerable, especially with those that you have more trusted connections with, you could say, just people that that are gonna treat those sensitivities well. This is Capricorn season. It's Sun in Capricorn opposing that moon in Cancer to create that full moon. So we are working out plans. We are working out strategies in terms of the directions that we're going in. I think this can definitely bring up, yes, your long-term career ambitions and definitely the future aspect of things, because this full moon and the sun are making good aspects to Uranus retrograde. So I think that we can start to really resource ourselves from within more, like from the inner levels, to take better care of ourselves, to find rest and deep reflection, to create better plans that are more spiritually aligned with value systems that are actually gonna, not make things heavier. This is actually about a release to hopefully make things more nourishing, lighter, making sure that we're nourished for the long haul of where it is that we're going. And so that's going to come from definitely a deeply spiritual place, with it, being Uranus and kind of the random calculations, if you will, of what is going on with money relationships. I know, of course, Venus is going to start making its square over to Jupiter retrograde and Neptune. So this, we got to be careful about crazy town, about thinking that, something with a project or money or relationships are slipping. I think this is more about an opening. This is about bigger doors being able to open that your mind can't conceive of yet, with those nodes that have shifted, that North Node that's going to start conjuncting Neptune, and really it's there with it now, where it's there's a boundless universe in front of us. We just completely shifted, into a brand new 18-year type cycle where we haven't seen the North Node in Pisces at the end of the zodiac for 18 years. And of course, if you want to learn more about that, you can look at that video that I just posted about the node shifting for the collective to get deeper into it. But this is about channeling. This is about following your intuition. And really, everyone's a channel, if you open up and really just listen and find quiet time spiritually to reflect on things. And because it's definitely not about an energy of just like pushing forward. With Mars retrograde in Cancer, we can actually burn ourselves out and miss out on some really great opportunities for really deep rejuvenation. I mean, these are things that, we're doing to really refill our tank. And so this is not about using this astrology to overcalculate or overcompensate to push your efforts like forward, to force magic in your life, to manifest and make some big things happen that might subconsciously be trying to cover up something that is meant to be released and healed. And it's not about trying to change the past. It's definitely about going forward into the future and rising into more of this like spiritual road that we're creating right now, really thought by thought, if you think about it, of how this holographic reality works, how we interact with this reality. And so it's best to look at this and take a step back and start with this idea of like, don't worry about what everyone else is doing. It's more about what's the latest and greatest with your personal values that's going to take you to a level of success and achievement that feels more like akin to you. It's personal to you. It's, it creates a sense of physical love connection, like with the actual creation of money, of wealth, of projects, of relationships. That way you're not just, bleeding yourself dry, just pushing and trying to force and make things happen, because it would be like, oh, let's go take this side road that's actually off more of like a spiritual path that this can bring up, that the divine is wanting to, lead you towards. And then you realize it's a dead end. And then you just kind of like wasted your time and actually created some delays. And that's going to be the challenging part to remember about this next 18-month transit of that South Node in Virgo is, not taking too many avenues, doing too many things, too many little things, just busybody energy. Definitely more about following a spiritual flow. And so this full moon is helping, kick off this energy in a lot of ways, because even though it won't make aspects at its peak of the full moon, it will on the waning side make aspects to that North Node in Pisces, and of course before that Neptune. And so this is really time for deep reflections, rest, care, really even this is allowing the subconscious mind to sort of detach from maybe some programs that maybe almost like capitalistic, or, just like reminds me of like marketing stuff, like buy this thing, solve this issue. And it's like working to make money, to buy things to solve problems that we're, more so creating in the mind. And this is about letting the divine show us that actually, even when things seem messy on the surface, it's all in a perfect order and a perfect transition. We're just going into a different space. This is actually, believe it or not, like a really beautiful personal space, even though it lands on a Monday of the start of the work week in North America, and that we can get this reprieve before even more interesting shifts like start to happen. Like we still got the rest of the Mars retrograde through February. Of course, we got the Venus retrograde that'll be coming in the spring, the eclipses, Neptune, Saturn going into Aries. And so this doesn't mean that we get a reprieve like for the whole, rest of the winter necessarily, but I do think it is a way to kind of put down some of the armor that, that we wear, that full moon in Cancer can illuminate those places where maybe we're self-protecting and I think it's illuminating spiritually the guidance of like what do we need to connect more to in the world, so that any time that we are spending alone reflecting, it's more so to also see what we need to connect better to that maybe we've been neglecting, that could literally be for our mental health, our finances, or a project or relationships. I definitely feel like a lot of it probably is going to be more of a relationship like piece of it. This is not about uh, isolation energy of, you know, as I said, that wearing too much armor is self-protecting. It's like it's not North Node in Aries anymore. It's just kind of run by its lonesome self. And so now it can feel like the isolation, weirdo, energy of our ego identity, and we're just, something still feels off. But I mean, we've been dealing with that since 2019. So it's like, join the club of the other misfit toys and see that in some weird shape or form, we all feel like misfits spiritually. And that's what we're all here to do, is actually show up as that person and connect in the world, and not hide or recluse, and just make sure that we're putting it out there. And it's even for people, like, because there can be recluse energy subconsciously too, for people even like that are used to being around people and connecting, and actually owning the vulnerability, like taking off the mask, just really showing up as your authentic self, that it's not about, some brave, look at me energy to try to make you feel better. It really is just about, showing up, but it is showing up to the places that are actually going to be nourishing and that makes sense for the long term. And so that's going to look different for everybody depending on your sign, depending on your chart. But what I can say is that with this full moon energy, the way that it's hitting Uranus, it's definitely about connecting with positive quality relationships and building things. And even with the Venus in Pisces squared to Jupiter, taking ideas that can feel dreamlike and actually going out and creating them. So this is about not limiting ourselves necessarily on our dreams, that we need to go out and create it solo, but more so being receivers of the dream in this quiet, reflective space. And then, being open to the resources of how that's going to look, because this is this bigger split that starts to come in collectively, where some people will just, find new ways to sort of hit that snooze button on reality and just keep going through the grind. And those of us that, are just wanting that sort of spiritual boundless nature, that we know more is out there. We know that a better, brighter future is out there that has more nourishment of compassion and empathy and understanding and communication, that's more open and honest and not deceptive. Really what that North Node and Neptune can bring up. For those of us that want to walk that path, it really is not trying to overly articulate the details of how that dream is going to work, or overly communicate it, or, rush to figure it out or create some system out of it, or make it, the next big thing, or some, bigger, stronger, faster energy. It really is more about the going with that flow type of energy to see what wants to seat within us, what wants to come in, because it is about an embodiment, that with the authenticity piece of it. If we, rush the process, it's not a fully understood plan, because these are where plans can absolutely come in. But these plans come in, more so from, you could say, more feeling grounded for sure, finding grounding, finding peace and safety, and emotionally, but also just physically in the central nervous system to, and sometimes that takes a moment to reflect and go and look around and go, okay, well, whatever area it is of your life that, maybe feels like this could bring up oh, I need to fix this or address this mode, or, is the stability really like good enough, or, relationships, money, people's situations, projects. Are they stable enough? Is the world stable enough? Is a big one. It's not, it's seeing like, are you okay for the next, few days? And if you're okay, then great. Then find peace and relaxation finally with that South Node out of Libra, and see that you do have space to dream, because the original essence of Capricorn is like, how do we get through it, but also plan accordingly to go to a better place. And the part of the lessons of the practical piece of Capricorn is like, the more restrictive and challenging like things feel, like it is like finding, discipline and creating structures in life that allow us to rise to the occasion, to go to a higher level, so that, every year that goes by, that focus, bear down, restrictive energy that we feel during Capricorn season, however that shows up for us as individuals,